yesterday. Well, because, there was a deadline, so you assume there was a trade. Jonathan Taylor, oh, that's right, no deal done. Jonathan Taylor is still an Indianapolis Colt, and furthermore, he is going to start the season on the PUP list, which means he will miss at least the first 4 games of the year. So the clown show that is the Indianapolis Colts and the handling of the Jonathan Taylor situation continues. Still a member of your Indianapolis Colts. What up, Irsay?
Yeah.
Good Christ, man.
Well, okay, so there's a few ways of looking at this because maybe we don't know that his ankle is worse off than, both Jonathan Taylor and his representation and even the team knows. That could be an element to all this because when you have an injury and you're in a contract negotiation or you want an extension, it's always going to sour whatever the deal is going to be. I think that's common sense. What I don't know, though, is if the Colts couldn't get the trade value that they wanted for Jonathan Taylor. And so they essentially say, hey, let's just all, offer him an olive branch. And they say, we're going to put you on PUP. We're going to let this thing play out for another 4 weeks. You don't have to play for us. You can get healthy if he's not healthy. And if he is healthy and it's, a quote-unquote ankle injury that he's holding in with, then it gives them 4 more weeks to see if they can't trade him and get a little better value of what they're looking for. Maybe there's a team that has an injury. Maybe there's a team that looks at the running back situation after 4 games and goes, man, we need a guy like Jonathan Taylor in here if we want to make a playoff run. And also what it does is he still gets paid. It would be different if he was on IR. Then there would be a potential reduction in his salary because of the injury split. So in some cases, you get half of what you're actually owed. He's owed $4 million this year. So he will get that $4 million now over if he comes back after week 4 and plays. He'll get over 13 games, not 17 games, which if you really think about a lot of running backs, their gripe oftentimes is, well, I'm not getting paid my fair market value. I want to be compensated to be, compensate for me for what I'm worth. And at least in this case, they're not subjecting him to 4 more games if this is the agreement that they came to. So I don't think this saga is over. He's obviously a potential trade candidate until week 8, but they've got that 4-week window now after, week 4 to see if they can't find a trade partner for him if and when he's quote-unquote healthy or if, they find the right deal to move on from him. But I have a hard time, guys, in thinking that we got here, in my opinion, because Jim Irsay. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, he shot his mouth off. He went public. They had a sit down. Him and Jonathan Taylor reportedly sat in Irsay's trailer, whatever the hell he's got. Like he's got like some banjo on wheels or something like that. They sat in there and talked for an hour, and then Jonathan Taylor came out and said, "I want to be traded." And Jim Irsay sat on the back of a golf cart and started talking about death and Jonathan Taylor being out of the league and nobody cares.
Nobody cared.
And that was a wrap. He literally butchered the entire thing.
Well, you forgot that the background singers and the band, they were next to trees and the singers were leaning on trees and they were singing the lyrics with Irsay about, life continuing on, I believe was the name of the song. I think what's interesting about what you're saying, Q, is when you look at where this whole Jonathan Taylor situation is, I just don't understand, and I said this yesterday, I reiterate again right now, if you were going to get a trade done, then it would have happened during that open franchise tag time. Outside of there being a serious injury, like you said, of some sort that may have taken place during training camp, and you're like, we really, really need to entertain this idea of bringing in a guy like Jonathan Taylor, which still, to me, I think what the Colts were going to ask for or are demanding with that trade is going to be too steep. So unless Irsay had changed his mind and the decision makers, his brass changed their minds as to how much it was going to cost to get it done, to actually let him go and move on from this, which they very well could have done even if he isn't in the best of health, then it's not going to happen. I mean, as good as Jonathan Taylor is, I don't think they're giving up the amount of draft stock that I think was being reported. What was it again, Jonas? You said something, a first rounder or the equivalent to a first round.
Yeah, first rounder or the equivalent.
Right.
Yeah, it's too rich of a deal to make happen. And if it hadn't happened by now, it wasn't going to happen. So you were going to have to show some type of incentive value for another franchise to jump out there and want to bring in Jonathan Taylor. So now putting him on the PUP list, now you've opened this whole thing up to speculation. Is he hurt more? Is always going to be the question. Is it worse than what we thought? What is it? What is it that's worse than what we thought? Is it the ankle? Is it the back? Is it both? Is it something more? So now you're left to almost, in my estimation, doesn't Jonathan Taylor have to play this year? Because if he doesn't play this year, then you say, okay, well, it was serious enough where the guy actually sat out for the entire season. I'm not looking at it like it's a money thing while he's sitting out now. I feel like the way this has played out makes me feel as though he needed this time to get healthy so that he could hit the open market or see if he could get traded, hit the open market, whatever it may be, however that whole thing plays out for the next upcoming season. Not anything else other than his health. So to me, if I'm Jonathan Taylor, you got to be sitting somewhere thinking, I got to play. I got to come back after 4 weeks. I got to come off this PUP list. I got to show the scouts out there and the franchises out there that I am healthy enough and I can still play at a high level so that I can try to raise my value back as much as I possibly can in the event that I can facilitate a trade or get the Colts to come to their senses and pay me.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I'd say is, so his contract would toll if he sat out, right? He won't earn an accrued season. So he'd be right back where he started, and he wouldn't get paid the $4 million that he's owed under his rookie deal. So he's not under the tag. He's under the rookie deal. They would still then have the opportunity to tag him after that, which it depends on how you're looking at this. Like to me, if he's not healthy, and if it is an ankle, if it's the back, or if it's both, as you touched on, you're kind of looking at it and saying, all right, like maybe he ends up not taking as much of a toll or hit on his body. He's still really young, and he might be in the next same situation next year, but he might also be able to be traded to a team that's going to pay him more than $4 million he's going to make. The Le'Veon Bell situation was so different because he had already been tagged once. He played his rookie deal. He got tagged. He played under that. It was a second tag. And he's like, come on now. Like, just give me that long-term extension or give me at least more than another, fully guaranteed one-year deal. And that's where the thing kind of broke apart, is he kind of probably felt like there wasn't a lot of loyalty or appreciation for what he'd done. And in Jonathan Taylor's case, it's different because he can still structure a longer-term deal off of those two franchise tags. Like if he were to sit out and his contract tolls, right, just the next year, he's still getting paid $4 million. He would then, in that instance, still be able to say, all right, let's take the first 2 years of what the franchise tag would be, and we could structure a 3-year deal, whatever it is, 4-year deal off of those next 2 years and what I'm going to play for next year. Like, that framework's still there. It's just a matter of whether or not Jonathan Taylor and his representation want to understand that that's the running back market. Like, that's also, like, as much as, I want to put it on Jim Irsay, because I do believe if he didn't say what he said, we're probably not in this spot. But I also feel like we don't know that Jonathan Taylor was asking for. Who knows if it was unreasonable or not?
There was a report.
The report said $14 million.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that they had multiple teams that were willing to give him $14 million, which
is odd because obviously no one was willing to give Saquon Barkley that. No one's willing to give Josh Jacobs that.
Nobody.
Yeah. So I tend to look at it and say, like, all right, it may have been a little more than that, but again, that's neither here nor there now. The running back market is what it is. He and his representation are going to have to come to grips with, like, that's what it is. And any general manager will tell you the framework for an extension is going to include what you're paid this year and then what you're paid the next 2 years under the franchise tag. And that's going to be, as from a player's standpoint, the baseline. And from the team standpoint, they might say that might be our best offer because we're taking away your year-to-year guarantee where we take out that injury risk, and we're giving you a signing bonus and money up front. So if you want that, that's great, but here's how it's structured. And it's not going to be anything more than that because we don't feel like the running back market's going up. We feel like it's going down.
Do you guys think that Jonathan Taylor would be out of line if he asked for a portion or maybe all of that $20 million Irsay was willing to fork out for that whale that died? Do you think that would be out of line at all? I mean, I feel like
that's about humanity, though. Like, come on, Jonas. This is not all about sports.
All right,
it's not always about football.
It's dead.
And guys. Oh man.
I mean, that's a new. That puts a new meaning.
You didn't see Free Willy?
Dead cat.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
You didn't see Free Willy?
I saw Free
when
Willy.
Willie got freed.
Yeah. But listen,
the big black fish.
Didn't he jump over that wall? Isn't that how
he
got
did.
Yeah.
He
to freedom.
Yeah.
You think they can do
freedom.
that? You think they're capable of doing that?
No.
That was a big leap.
Big ass jump.
That was a big jump. It was that. Michael Jackson was singing too.
Like
I guess Michael Jackson is up there singing with that whale right now.
Which
that
song
Jim
was that
Irsay
that he
was trying to
sang?
sing.